Morning everybody. Welcome to a different video. This is, if you've been following along, we do a video every single week. We've got something coming at you, and in November, guys, we're gonna be hitting you with double uploads, 2 a week, and we're really gonna pump out some content to you guys. So make sure you're subscribed, drop a like on the video, and got plenty of live stream and tons of different content coming at you. But today's topic is the commercial money. Across all our social platforms, I probably get more conversation about how do you make the commercial jump? How do you survive the money? There's so many questions about commercial money. How about I just sit here and tell you what I know about commercial money and how it works? I'm basically gonna run you guys down through when you started a job, timeline-wise, who it's going to, when it's going to them, or the roundabout, very vague, generalized situation for commercial money. That's what I'm going to give you today. It's a 45, 60-day process, and I'm going to explain thoroughly why it's that 45, 60-day process in this video. So I know plethora of you guys have been in the residential game for some time. You'll run out there, meet the customer, you'll talk with them, you get a price set. Well, a lot of times in the residential world, you can go up, get a deposit, 25% of the job, and that takes care of a little bit of labor, maybe a little bit of material if you had to buy it, whatever. But you're not fronting anything on the job, basically. You can get a deposit depending if you have material or not. And honestly, if you have material and you can get a deposit, do it every time. It just is gonna ease the cash flow on your business. As you move through the ranks and you get to the commercial setting, we made the jump from residential into, I would call it light commercial. It wasn't heavy commercial, but we were doing things on commercial job sites that we were insured for, and we had all the proper, Celsius, where you at? Come on with the sponsorship. You're sitting there trying to figure out, man, I need to grow because there's so much pressure on you about growing and scaling your business because that's all you freaking hear about. But if I would tell you straight up right now that if you're in the residential game and the light commercial game, you're making profitable money at the end of the year, you're profitable per job, I wouldn't be jumping in the commercial game anytime soon until you can use that profit, stack that profit, and really be ready to make that jump. And in 2024, the residential money dried up because of interest rates. I mean, I can go on and on and on. Groceries are expensive, fuel's expensive. 2024 was harder than ever. So the residential money, the homeowner didn't want to spend as much money with anyone. He didn't want to put siding on the side of his house. He didn't want to regrade his yard. He didn't want to do any of that. Now, there is still some situations that, there is residential work happening, but not like it's been up until this year, especially through COVID. I know a lot of you guys are so interested in jumping into the commercial game, and I would highly, highly recommend you check out some more videos on the YouTube page and then jump over to bluecollarbusinesspodcast.com and hear about me talk about the commercial game with folks from financials to accountants to plethora, anybody in the blue collar game, commercial wise, residential, bringing them on that podcast and letting you guys ask them questions. So furthermore, let's talk about commercial jobs. So let's talk about timelines here. Say we're in the month of May this year and May 6th comes along, you've worked with your contractor, this is past the point of having a contract, having all your W-9 insurance, bonding, anything that you needed. That's a totally different video. Go find that on the homepage. Say you started the job on the May 6th, okay? Hypothetical speaking here. Yeah, that was a little funny, wasn't it? Sorry. Hypothetically speaking here, job starts on the 6th. You run all week. You come back, need to finish up some lacking stuff, whatever. Say we finished up on the 15th. Well, you're done. You've paid the labor, you've bought the material, you've put the material in the ground. Everything's freaking done. Whether you put it on accounts, whether you paid cash for it, you've got to pay that bill. So This is May 15th. Now pay attention with me. Normal commercial billing dates is going to be between the 20th and the 25th of the month, depending on your contractor, depending on engineer, architect, ownership. It's going to vary. It could be the 23rd, it could be the 21st, it could be the 20th, but most commonly I see either the 20th or the 25th. Why is that? Well, this is when the GC that you're working for opens up billing so you can get your bill in the door to them. In the commercial sense, unless you have a really strong relationship, you don't just send a bill willy-nilly. There is a very stringent, protected process, normally done through what's called an AIA pay app structure, that you will build. They will give to you a G702 and a G703 form. Don't let that scare you. It's just literally an itemized scope list of what you did per the contract. And so with that, it's not the end of the world. It does take a little bit of time to figure out how to properly fill out an AIA, but once you got it, there's no other way. It's very black and white, what you've done, what you haven't, and it's easy to track for you as an owner as well. We've got our job done, got our materials on us, whether it's on an account, you paid cash, you paid your boys, obviously you had to pay your boys on Friday, then you're gonna have to pay them again on the 17th. But you ain't got no money. What happened? So, let's hit the 20th of the month. We turn our pay app in per the request of the GC in whatever format during their billing. Some GCs only open up a billing window for 3 to 4 hours. Some of them open it up for an entire day. Some of them, you really need to read the payment application structure in your contract, and it will give you that date, timeline, program, whether they're using Procore, Builders, whatever they're using, that's how that'll happen. So now that the GC's got it in their hands, what happens if you don't get your bill in the right place or the right time? Well, you're screwed. I don't know what else to tell you. It's gonna happen to you at some point, especially as you're growing and scaling. You're gonna miss a pay app window, and you're gonna be behind this payment structure of this 60-day window. Go ahead and add another 30 days. We're talking about our GC approval now. It's in our GC's hands. We've got it in a pay app. We've made the window where the GC opened up a very minuscule amount of time for us to get our invoice in, which I think is completely screwed up, but that's just part of this system that I don't like. Basically, from the 27th, usually from the billing date, 20th, 25th, 27th, 23rd, I don't really care when it is. Now we flip over to this month. So now we're at the first of the month. Don't get me wrong, we got finished up with our job 15 days ago at this point, okay? We're done, we sent our bill in, now we're waiting to collect. So the GC gets our pay apps. What's he do with our pay apps? Who keeps the GC honest? Well, the architect engineer, and don't hate on me too bad for my writing, it's pretty rough, I understand. But architect engineer has to approve all said pay apps to their prints, whether it's the architect and the steel guy says he's 75%, well, he may turn around and go, well, I don't see 75% of my project put in, I think I only see 55%, and they'll turn around and balk with the GC and go back and forth and go back and forth, and then you'll get sprinkled in the conversation a little bit during from the 1st to the 10th. After your pay app is in with the GC, the architect, engineers, it all depends on who the ownership is using to approve pay apps, is going to take from the 1st to the 10th at least, sometimes the 1st through the 15th. Sometimes it somehow takes them 2 weeks to make a few phone calls and ask a few questions about, hey, so you're done here, I see you billed 25%, yeah, but none of the work's been performed. Yeah, but dude, I have materials sitting on site that started hitting me back at the 5th of May. How can I not put it on this pay app? And that's if you're continuing on with a job, say we didn't get the job done on the 16th and you're still working actively on this project and you put on your pay app, we're 75% here and we're 50% here. And they may come back at you and go, well, you're only 25% here and 50% here, and here's why. And it's up to you and your documentation process to prove otherwise. And if you have nothing on paper, you're pretty much hosed. So it's not about work you can do, it's about work you can document you've done. So then by the time we get to the 10th, now we pulled on the job 30 days ago on the 6th of the month prior. Now our pay app is hitting the owner's desk. Usually from the 10th through the 20th, we have owner approval. So the owner who's funding the entire project, carrying the note, has now used his engineer and architect to collect bills from the general contractor. The general contractors had time to go back and forth with subcontractors. The architect and engineers had time to go back and forth with the general contractor to make sure all the money's square, everything's good to go. Sometimes can take him, the 10th is pretty common, but I have had projects, larger projects that need a little bit extra time, a lot of different trades, etc., push all the way to the 15th. The owner can also go back to the engineer and go, well, what's this? What's that? What's this? Why is it that? Why do I got to spend this money? Why do I got to do that? Ask all those fluid questions back to the engineer and architect, and a lot of times that has to go back to the GC, and then a lot of times the GC has to go back to the sub, and then the sub has to go back to the GC, back to the architect, back to the owner. That can take days to get information back and forth. As you guys have heard me on this channel 100 times, I always love working directly for the owner of the project because it kills basically 2 steps in your pay app approval. Now it's up here in the owner's hands. He's gonna take his time. Well, he may be on vacation somewhere in the world. He may be doing something else, whatever, etc. By the 20th, 25th of the month, usually depending on how big the project is, he's given approval. The architect engineer's got approval. The GC's got approval. Now the owner's gonna go, most likely there's another third party, depending on the size of the project. There's a third party handling the distribution. It's called funds control. And basically they will pay you out after they have approval from all 3 and they've been given the green light from the owner to go ahead and distribute funds. Say we're now at the 20th mark after the owner approval. We pulled on the job and finished the job 30 days ago for this experiment. So now pay app's fully approved. It goes back to the engineer and architect, normally letting them know everything's done up to this point and it's paid for, and then it'll travel back to the GC. Now, if there's a third party in between the owner and the GC on funds control, that's a good way for GCs and owners to make interest on the money that they're accruing to pay you. That's a whole different video of the subject. Gets me extremely mad. Now we're sitting here at the end of June for work you started on May 6th, and you still haven't even got there yet. You don't even know if your money's coming yet. You can't even get it out of anybody. Is my money really, really coming? So now we're at the end of June. We started the project on the 6th of May. We have all approvals. So now if there's no funds control and there's no anything else in the way, the owner will deposit funds and fund the GC's pay app, okay? That's usually around the 1st through the 10th. Now, if you're working for a really good GC, they'll get it turned around, hopefully same day. Usually takes a day or 2, but the 10th through the 12th of July on work that you've done in May. Just that sink in. We're in July up here for a job that we pulled on May 6th, finished by May 15th, and now we're maybe gonna get paid around this mark. Well, what if you're working for one of those crappy GCs and they don't have a good admin structure? Well, you could be waiting from the 10th to the 20th, 25th just to hear about your money. 60 full, 65, 70 days. This is standard. This isn't like, this is the way things are done in the commercial game. It's ridiculous. It's asinine, it's ignorant. And as time has moved on, we keep adding more and more and more and more positions in between this process. I don't understand it. I do for one reason, but if owners and GCs actually wanted to get more involved with their projects, architects and engineers maybe, come out to the project more than once a quarter, would definitely help this process and mitigate and minimize a lot of those questions they have during pay app. So now we're talking about July 10th, money's in the hands of the GC. You're looking at easy 5 days from there. I would think about 15th, probably right in here. This week, you should be looking at a check. If you're just doing commercial work and you're just getting started, you've got to fund it for 75 to 90 days. That's all the material, that's all your labor, that's all your overhead, that's all your fuel, that's all the truck tires and the oil changes and overtimes and everything else just to get the projects done. How does this even make sense? How does cash flow in the construction industry is king, but how does a subcontractor get a hold of cash flow with the system designed to do this? Tell me how a bank is financing this project when I've got to wait on my money for 60, 75 days with zero interest added on it, but the two people in between me get to gain interest on that money. It's crazy, it's asinine. And of course, they beat you up pre-contract to make sure you had, about 5-10% profit in it. You know what I mean? It's just be careful. That's all I'm saying getting into this commercial game. From where we started the job on May 6th, finished up the job the 15th, we're talking about the 20th of July, true 60 days before you even remotely see money. So I got to thinking, I actually think about what I'm saying usually, trying to make sure I'm covering all aspects of our topics, and I forgot one vital key topic, and it's called retainage. It will be the devil and the vein of your existence. We were talking about, we had done the job, little recap here. We had started the job on the 6th, finished the job on the 15th. We turned our pay app in for 100% of the work. So our pay app's in, we turn around, we're waiting on GC approval. GC approves it, we get it over to our architect engineer for approval. They get their time, then we got our owner approval and they get their time. Now we're at the 30-day mark. Actually, 30 days was over here for you, and 30 days from the time you stepped foot on the job was there. So anyways, pay app fully approved, architect engineer goes back to the GC, and then basically GC disbursement happens through this period of time, and then it's payday. What I failed to mention yesterday, guys, is that even though you're 100% done with the job, if you're an excavation or utility contractor, you're one of the first guys on the job. You can be completely 100% done. Turn in your pay app for 100% done, but they're only going to give you 90% of your money. How does that work? It doesn't even make sense coming out. It makes me so mad to talk about. So what is retainage? Retainage is basically your money being held with the general contractor through this commercial project to ensure that the project gets done and whole. Say you put your meter cans up, the curb goes in, everything goes in, and your meter cans are low. You need to bring them up. You got to run out there and do that. If they're not holding a little bit of your money, you're not going to come back and want to finish that little task and little item, right? Retainage is the devil, and it can be the devil if you get strung out on 3 or 4 commercial jobs at once, being a smaller guy, and that's where all your money's coming from, because a lot of times that 10% your profit. You don't see it. And sometimes I'm talking years, guys. You get on a large size project, you wait for years to get your money. It's pretty crazy. So keep that in mind. 90% of your money, even if you're 100% done, the entire job needs to be 100% done. Go through this entire process again, and then you get your 10% of your money. It's so dumb. It makes me so mad, and I want to change it. I want to help facilitate change within our pay app structure. And don't get me wrong, it's not all the time like this, especially if you go work directly for the owner. It's all about relationships, as I've said 100,000 times on this channel and on the podcast, and working your way into the optimal position to get the job done and get paid in a timely manner is your number one goal. So I'm just saying, make sure you've got a good understanding of this system right here before you keep asking to jump in the commercial game, because once you do land that job and you do land that commercial job and somebody believes in you to get the job done and it's your first one, it's going to be rough on the pay. So just be ready for that and have some other systems to push, because you're going to need them, or funds, you're going to need them. Did you see the system we just designed? It's not a system I designed, it's a system I have to follow. But I tell you right now, I discuss on Blue Collar Business Podcast why this construction industry is still doing this and how can we change it as the next generation leaders. How do we change this system? Because it's absolutely ignorant. Don't get me wrong, I talk about relationships on the podcast and on here all the time. You have working relationships with these owners and investors. It's a lot easier to get your money. A lot easier. So you'll work your way through a couple of years of doing GC work. Make sure you're still funding that residential side. I'm telling you, cling on to that residential side. You're still getting deposits. You're getting paid on receipt when the job is done, not 65 days. And you're going to have to somehow float this until you get there. So I hope this video helped you in some way, some format, because I get a lot of questions about it, and I wanted to explain it for you guys here in the office and let you guys know what I basically have ran into over the years. So if this helped you in any way or you found value in this video, would you please drop a like on this video? The YouTube algorithm doesn't really know how to classify a civil construction behind the scenes business channel for you guys. So dropping a like helps so much on the channel. Go check out some other videos, go check out the podcast, and don't forget, if you want to look fly in this merch, psychonext.com/merch. Come on, we'll see you guys next time. Be safe, be kind, be humble.